If you are playing less than 5 gigs a year and you want to 10x, 20x, or 100x that number, then this video is for you. My name's Danny. I've been playing piano professionally for around 15 years, ever since I was in high school. And I've played all sorts of music, ranging from pop to rock to jazz to classical to Latin to pretty much everything in between. And I've played all sorts of different gigs, including restaurants, bars, corporate events, weddings, churches, and even in the past 6 months, I've been playing in the funk soul project Sneezy, where we've been playing regularly around the country shows for over 1,000 people, including getting the opportunity to play on Jam Cruise this February with bands like Snarky Puppy, Lettuce, and Galactic. And in this video, I want to show you 3 things you need to be able to get amazing gigs. Before we jump in, I want to let you know this video is not about emailing restaurants or venues. It's not about going to jams and jam session etiquette. It's not about press photos or demo videos or any of that. While all those things are important to get, I think if you can do these 3 things, those things will be easier, and that a lot of people get lost in like the minutia of like, what are the steps to get a gig? And they miss the really obvious thing right in front of them. What these 3 things are going to do is give you that really obvious thing. And rather than just wait any longer, let's just jump into it. If you want to get gigs and be a full-time gig musician, you need to get really good at your instrument. So the first thing you need to do is practice a lot. I know that might sound obvious, but if you're not playing any gigs right now, my guess is you're not practicing as much as you think you are. And you might be spending a lot of time watching YouTube videos on how to play piano, or reading books about how to play piano, or thinking about practicing, maybe noodling at your instrument, but then getting away and watching YouTube, instead of getting down and dirty and just putting time into the instrument. Everyone I know who plays on a really high level has spent thousands of hours at their instrument. And they would all probably tell you, I can certainly tell you, not all those hours were like amazingly productive hours. In the sense that, especially when I was younger and newer at practicing, a lot of what I did probably wasn't very efficient. And as I've gotten older, I've learned how to be more efficient with my practicing and learn more faster. But it's one of those things where the only way out is through. In the later tips, I'll talk about how you might be able to expedite that a bit, but there's nothing that can beat just putting time in. And the more time you put in, the more you'll understand how to put productive time in. When I was in college, the great trombonist Jiggs Wiggum came and did a masterclass. And he told us that when he was 20 years old, he scheduled all of his classes after 11 a.m. so that he could wake up early and practice trombone from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. for 3 hours every day. He said after he did this for a couple months, the strangest thing happened. He all of a sudden started to get really lucky. He all of a sudden started to get lots of calls for gigs. He all of a sudden had people reaching out to him, wanting him to play, wanting to pay him to play with them. And I love the way he phrased this as getting lucky, because it's like luck meets preparation plus opportunity, right? He didn't talk about like, oh, I got gigs when I put together a really nice demo reel. He said, no, I got gigs when I decided to put the instrument in front of me and just spend time at the instrument every day, no exceptions. And I think this is really powerful, because I think if you're not playing gigs and you want to, and you feel like you maybe deserve to, first of all, hard truth, no one deserves anything. But second of all, putting more time in is like the most surefire way to actually get that block out of the way. And if you just practice a lot more, if you got 10 times better than you are right now, it would be impossible to not get gigs. Before I joined this touring band, I was at a point in my life where in Chicago, my phone was ringing off the hook, especially over the summer. On a given Saturday, I might have 5 different people or bands ask me to play with them, often for $300+ on any given one. It was like I had to actually start to learn the skill of how to say no to certain ones because I might anticipate one that paid more coming up. But this came from because I created a reputation for myself as somebody who's really, really good at piano. The metaphor I want to give that's related to this is, imagine 2 people who want to get in shape. And one of them says, I don't know anything about working out, but I'm just going to go to the gym, and I'm going to go to the gym every day. And the other one says, before I go to the gym, I need to make sure I understand what I'm doing. I'm going to watch videos on what exercises I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do a bunch of research on how to exercise with the right form. And person one goes to the gym, and even though they're kind of fumbling through, they're exercising with bad form, they're being inefficient, but they keep going every day. Whereas person two never goes to the gym. They just keep researching how you're supposed to exercise. Who's going to be more likely to be in shape after a month or 2 months or 3 months? Who is more likely to have good form on the exercise after 6 months? The person who keeps researching what good form looks like, or the person just going to the gym and doing the exercise? I don't know about you, but I really think it's the person who's doing the work. You show up at the gym and you work out, eventually somebody's going to see you do a bicep curl wrong and not be able to take it because they've seen you do it wrong for 3 weeks, and they're going to run over and fix it for you. And watching a video on how to do a bicep curl is not going to really teach your body how to do a bicep curl. Just like watching a video on how to play a scale only does so much. It might unlock the new information on what that scale is, but until you get to the piano and play it, and make sure you actually know it, not just like kind of can play it while the video's up, but you could teach it to someone else, is really a good metric if you know it. That's when you get good. That's when other people notice that you get good, and they create opportunities for you. It also creates a loop within yourself where if you start to actually feel confident for what you're playing at the piano, you're going to see gigs pop up that you never realized were there. When your friend casually mentions that they need a piano player they want music for an event, or even that they have an event, you're way more likely to say, "Oh, are you looking for music for that event? I could play for an hour. I could play for 2 hours." You'll see the opportunity show up in yourself as you get confidence at the instrument. So that's step one. It's practice a lot. Step two is bring friends along with you. Practice with friends. Make music with other people. I believe time spent practicing is valuable, and you can get a lot better by just putting hours in. But you can 2x or even more, depending on how good your friends are, that process by practicing with other people. When I was in college, it seemed like every night I got in the basement of the university I was at with my best buds at the time, a drummer, a guitar player, and a bass player. And we stumbled through music as a group for at least 2 hours every night. Sometimes, especially early on, it was just like us bringing in music for stuff and just like stumbling through it. But later in our college career, it was rehearsing together for our recitals, for other people's recitals, for gigs that appeared because we got the reputation of being the guys in the band working on music together, right? You see how this ties in? And if you play with other people, it's going to force you to be at a higher standard than if you play by yourself. Another gym metaphor applies directly here. Look, I'm not super in shape, but I have some friends who are. If I go to the gym by myself, I'm really likely to wimp out on my exercises. I'm really likely to say I want to get to 10 reps, and at 7 decide it's too hard and want to stop. But when I go with my buddy Brett, he does not let me stop at 7. He forces me to keep going, even assisting me a little bit, until I go to like 12 or 13. Because I had somebody there to work on it with me, I actually pushed myself and grew a lot more than when nobody was watching and I cheated on my standard. So if you practice with friends, you'll get better twice as fast. Not to mention, when you have other people around, starting to look like you have a band, right? You can start to learn music together and maybe have something to put forward to present music to people. Just a thought. The third thing you want to do to get really good is get yourself a one-on-one teacher. Look, I make YouTube videos. I love making content that can hopefully help thousands of people. However, nothing beats working with someone one-on-one. I really hope my videos help, but I can't watch you play and give you direct feedback. I can't rephrase something that you didn't understand and tell it back to you when you're watching this video. This feels really meta saying this, but if I were your teacher, and this isn't a sales pitch to get you to study with me, I'm just saying if you had a great teacher who inspired you, who had gone through it themselves, who had played all sorts of gigs, and could help you with exactly where you're at, you can legitimately 10x your progress. You can get better so much faster than just blindly going at it. And I will also say with this, if you get a teacher, hold yourself to a higher standard. Don't cancel your lessons. Don't flake if you didn't practice. The worst thing you can do is create a reinforcement loop where it's like the behavior was, oh no, I didn't practice, therefore I'm going to cancel my lesson, which actually gives me dopamine because like I have less responsibility and I saved money, right? So that's going to create a feedback loop where you don't practice more. Next time the lesson comes around, you're going to cancel again. And then you'll just quit with your teacher and just quit playing piano. Whereas if you always go to your lesson, even when you didn't practice, you're creating a different reinforcement loop where you're showing yourself like, yes, I am committed to piano, and you're going to be more likely to practice. And if you have a good teacher, you will leave the lesson having learned something, having been inspired, being ready to play music at a higher level. One-on-one mentorship has been a facet of music education for as long as we really know. And it is the fastest way to make sure you actually know what you're supposed to practice and hold yourself to a standard and get better. It's going to be easier to have the confidence to meet with other people. Also, your teacher might get offered gigs that he or she doesn't want to do that would be perfect for someone at your level. And you would never be able to create that connection if you didn't get a teacher to begin with. So, if you're looking to get more gigs, quick recap, practice a lot more, practice with friends, and find somebody inspiring you can learn from directly. If you do those things, you will start to be able to make money from music, and all of a sudden you'll be like looking for a Saturday off because you're getting called so much. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you like the video, click like and click subscribe. Drop a comment and let me know like, what did you get out of this video? And where are you struggling with practicing? Where are you feeling like you need some clarity? And my small sales pitch, if you would like to learn how you could study with me, 10x your piano progress, send me a message on Instagram at Adventure with Danny. I'd be happy to talk to you about where you are and see how I might be able to help. Happy practicing!